Board of Education work session to order. Ms. Allen, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes. And if we would stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And tonight, we're having our mission statement read by Ms. Lily Jones of the Ram Nation Virtual Academy.
You gonna come up to the podium?
Hello.
Hi.
Today's mission alright, so the mission of the Trotwood-Madison City Schools is to graduate all students prepared to excel in a global society with commitment to a lifelong learning by guaranteeing a challenging curriculum facilitated by an innovative and a dedicated staff, community participation and a state-of-the-art resources in a simulating atmosphere.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
And now I'd like a motion to adopt the agenda.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda for today.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved by Mr. Anderson and second by Mrs. Cherry. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No.
No?
Hold on. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you know, we're doing our retire, rehire notification tonight, and I want to add one name. We have, one more name that will be added.
Is it on the
It is on the,
personnel agenda?
no, it's on the superintendent's, report, and it is item
C?
C.
And you have the public notice for him in front of you.
Okay, and I saw the one, let's see, I knew we had two.
Right. Yes, we had two, and now we have a third.
Okay, so he's covered under the same resolution.
Yes.
Except that we would need to add this one because his name is not on
Yes,
the one that is on the agenda.
Yes, we have his name, we will add that. I can, share that with you now. It is Mark Candler. When I read the resolution, I will include his name.
Okay,
He's a bus driver.
Ms. Cherry, you said that is, okay. And Ms. Allen, you'll make sure it's updated in our board docs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I'll, Ms. Allen, you can call the roll to adopt the agenda with the addition of the public notice requirement for to add under item C, the name of Mr. Mark Candler as a rehire.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes, the agenda is approved. And now we move to our board report. And the most important action on the agenda tonight is the swearing in of our student representative. And Ms. Allen will do the honors. So Faith and Princess Analia.
This way, stand
And we'll get pictures for the district.
I'm gonna stand right here so we can get pictures from the back. Okay, so, I'm gonna say I, and then state your name. I, state your name.
Your full name.
All together. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're gonna speak really loud so everyone can hear you, our microphones.
So when I say I, you state your name. Everybody just says their name, okay? So I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio. And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties as student representative of the Board of Education and for the said Trotwood-Madison City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, to the best of my ability. And in accordance with laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during my continuance in said office and until my successor is chosen and qualified. So this is sworn to and subscribed before me this 5th day of October 2023. Vanessa Jeter Freeman, President, Trotwood-Madison City School District Board of Education. Dennis D. Allen, Treasurer, CFO of Trotwood-Madison City School District, and our student representatives, Princess Emmanuel, Faith Metcalf. And there you go. Congratulations.
Welcome, welcome. We are so excited to have you here. And Mr. Davis had a work priority tonight and couldn't be here. And Mrs. Moore is on her way and will be here just a little later. And now we'll move to board policies. And I'll-
That I've passed out to you. You'll see it says Ohio Local Update Overview and Comments,
Okay,
okay? And if it's okay with you, Ms. Jeter Freeman, I'll just sort of go through them.
that is perfect.
Okay. All right, so I would like for you to turn to page 3. Again, I'm going to just sort of go through these policies. You will have an opportunity to read them because tonight is just for you to see them for the first reading. So policy bylaw 0141.2 is conflict of interest. This bylaw has been revised to include an expanded scope of potential conflicts that must be disclosed by a board member. It is a policy that should be adopted to keep our records accurate. Third grade reading guarantee. Beginning in 24-25 school year, parents will now have the authority to request that their children be promoted after consulting with building principal and reading teachers, even if their children are not reading at grade level. So they're no longer retaining them. Policy 3120.08 and 4120.08, employment of personnel for co-curricular and extracurricular activities has been revised, and also for volunteers has been revised. Now, individuals who coach interscholastic athletic programs have to complete a sudden cardiac arrest training course approved by the Department of Health whenever they apply for an initial permit or a permit renewal. They must also complete a student mental health training course approved by the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services for both the initial and renewal permits. Next policy, 5113.01, intra-district open enrollment. This is not currently for us because we don't have a school that a student could ask to go to in the same grade level. You know, it's not like we have two elementary buildings with the same grades. So that one really doesn't involve us. We could adopt it just in case our situation were to change. Policy 5320 is about immunization. We have to update our policies now to reflect changes in immunization requirements, which can mean adjustments to age and grade level groupings and vaccines as recommended by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Policy 5330, use of medications, and policy 5330.05, procurement and use of naloxone or Narcan is what we hear more typically in emergency situations. As a public school, we are now included in the law that we may obtain and maintain a supply of an overdose reversal drug for use in an emergency situation. This law also includes additional civil liability protection. The language in these policies should be something that we discuss, give careful consideration with the board and with our legal counsel.
So for that one, and this is a work session, so if you have comments or questions, and we're not voting tonight, but if that's not a mandate that we do it,
No.
so.
This
okay.
is not a mandate, we can make that decision as a district.
Okay,
Okay. Policy 5337, care of students with seizure disorders. This is new. Beginning this school year, school districts will be required to create a seizure action plan for all students who have been diagnosed with an active seizure disorder. The plan is developed in consultation with parents or legal guardians and must be renewed annually. This is consistent now with current state of the law and should be adopted.
is there a timeline on when we have to have those updated?
Yeah, some of the things will go right into use once we vote them in. And so it should be right.
Yeah,
right away.
and for that one, I was specifically talking because it's addressing our students,
Physical health?
right, their
Yes.
physical health. So
Yeah.
those we would start now.
And some of the things we are already doing, there has been conversation about these things. I know, for example, our coaches are now already required to take the mental health, piece when they renew their licenses. And so we do know about some of these, and some of them are things we're either already doing or starting.
Okay,
But that one, as soon as, we vote this in, it would be going then. Okay. Policy 6240, Board of Revision Complaints and Counter Complaints. Boards now have a limited role in real estate valuation appeals. Used to not have any input into it, but now there is a limited role. This proposed policy is consistent with current state of the law, and it should be considered. Fair Labor Standards Act, also known as the Pump Act. President Biden signed the Pump Act into law, which expands the rights granted by Break Time for Nursing Mothers Act to include exempt employees of covered employers. This change, which expands coverage to cover 9 million workers, now grants all salaried employees the opportunity to have a private space and a break time for nursing mothers. We already do this one.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so that won't change, what we do. We've never had a problem with that.
Is that the meditation room?
I'm sorry.
At each of the buildings, is that the meditation room? The private space?
Oh, a private
Yeah.
space? Yes.
Is that considered?
They would have a private space.
Okay.
Policy 7440, facility security. This policy is updated to include an optional list of security measures that are utilized throughout school facilities. Language has been added that declares staff, students, and visitors who intentionally circumvent, interfere with, or disable security measure systems and devices may be subject to discipline up to and including termination of employment, suspension, or expulsion from work or school, and may also face criminal charges. These are offered for client consideration. Again, that is already a part of what we do.
Yeah, I thought so.
Policy 8210 is speaking about the school calendar. I'm really sort of proud of us because we do a lot of these things already. This is saying that no longer will have blizzard bags, which we don't. Now we have the option to provide virtual online education to students when schools are closed due to disease epidemic, hazardous weather conditions, law enforcement emergencies. So we are already, again, doing that. It is recommended for adoption. Policy 8330, student records. A new law has been enacted that requires school districts to forward a student's cumulative records to a new public or non-public school upon request within 5 school days. It defines records to include academic records, student assessment data, or other information for which there's a legitimate educational interest. If there are no records, then the district must notify the requesting school within 5 days indicating that there are no records. At one point, you were able to hold students' grades if they didn't have like their fees paid. Now they're saying that the fees would have to be more than $2,500 before you can hold their records. So bottom line is, we cannot hold students' records for not having fees paid, okay? And this is recommended for adoption. Policy 8600, transportation, revised, and then transportation by school van. School districts will be permitted to transport non-public school students to and from schools using a van. The van must be designed to carry 9 or less students plus a driver, and it has to be inspected not less than 2 times a year by a qualified mechanic. This is a change for us. We do have vans, but we have not been using them to, carry students back and forth.
It says non-public school students. So that's our charter and parochial students that we transport? Is that
So,
what it?
I thought we do utilize those transports, those vans for that.
I think we have transportation for those students now as required if they're not considered something that, we can say that is not feasible for us to do it.
Okay.
But now we can use our vans. Let's say we just did have a few students who need to be picked up in an area. We
Okay.
wouldn't have to use a full school bus. As of October, the district will be required to provide transportation as a related service to students with disabilities who live in the district and attend a non-public school if the school district is provided with supporting documentation from the child's individualized education plan or an individual service plan developed by the County Board of Developmental Disabilities. So if a student has an IEP that says they need to be transported, we're to use our vans to do that. Okay? I think that's the last one. Okay. Sorry, 9160, yep, I'm on the back page now. Public attendance at school events, policy 9160. House Bill 33 adopted a new law which requires school districts that elect to participate in athletic events regulated by interscholastic conference organization to either accept cash at any school affiliated event where admission is charged, or alternatively provide a free ticket, if any remain available, to an individual who can demonstrate that they had the cash to cover the cost of the ticket on the day of the event. School districts must also accept cash in at least one location per floor where concessions are sold. This became effective October 3rd, So we've already, implemented that, and we are accepting cash.
Okay.
Okay. Policy 9211, district support organizations. This is a revised one. It declares that school employees and board members will not manage or have access to funds of a district support organization or serve as a voting member or officer of the organization. And basically that's like booster clubs and nonprofits that support the district. This is the last one, and then we had administrative guidelines, and we don't have to go through those. Policy 9270, equivalent education outside the schools and participation in extracurricular for students not enrolled in a district. District superintendents will no longer be required to approve applications for homeschooling, which is now officially referred to as home education. Instead, superintendents will be provided with a simplified notice from a student's parent or legal guardian within 5 days after the student begins home education or moves into your district. The number of required subjects has been reduced to include only English, language arts, mathematics, science, history, government, and social studies. At one point, parents had to meet a certain requirement to instruct their children at home. That has now changed as well.
Mm.
Okay, and again, so you'll have, the 2 weeks, please read through this. There is more detailed information. If you want something about a particular one, I can share with you over the course of time, so that when it's time to vote on it, you'll feel comfortable.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions?
I don't.
Okay, and now, we'll move to a presentation on our district leadership team meeting, recap from, last week. I
So
think
we'll
that was
have
last week.
our Director of Curriculum and Student Improvement, Mrs. Rachel Murdoch, will be doing our presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for having me tonight. I am just going to run through a recap of the meeting, just to give you an overview of what we covered last Thursday, September 28th. Well, I know this was where, oh, there it goes, okay. So we stuck to a pretty tight agenda. I highlighted a few things in the middle, because the main purpose of the district leadership team is to make sure we are looking carefully at data, asking the right questions about our data, and then moving into action on how to address it and continue to make improvements. So we started with that focus. Sorry, thank you. I know that you all are very much aware of the district goals, but I did want to just start with those. Thank you so much. Oh, that's it, yep. The first goal is an academic goal, and that is to increase the number of students who are at or above proficiency over 3 years. Now, I will point out we're in the third year of a 3-year plan, so it's also time to reflect on what is going well, what is not going well, and where we need to move forward, because we will be rewriting the district improvement plan this year. So that first goal is an academic goal.
I just want to put a comment in there to the board members, but one of our reasons for a special meeting next week is to look at the ESSER dollars that we got and make sure that the programs that we implemented to help move those students, that they were effective in doing that, to look to see if we need to tweak them, if we need to change them, but that's the purpose of that, and it falls within this goal.
Yes, thank you. Yes, very true. We need to be accountable for all. So our second district goal addresses behavior, particularly making sure that we support the unique academic and social emotional needs of all students. And that part of that measurement is reducing removals of students. So a second goal to review. And then the third goal which is to increase family and community engagement opportunities, something that's very much in place with the Heroes of the Household initiative that started last year. So after we reviewed the goals, we asked that everybody really consider if we are asking the right questions, because if we've been asking the same question over and over and getting the same results, it's probably time for a new question. So I just introduced this through an example, and this is Takura Kobayashi. I don't know if you recognize him. He revolutionized the sport of competitive eating because he changed the question. So most competitive eaters had just been asking, how can I eat hot dogs faster? He asked, how can I make the hot dog easier to eat? And he, as a result, started breaking the hot dog in half instead of eating it whole, removing it from the bun, soaking the bun in water. He collected lots of data, practiced over and over, and on his first appearance, he broke the record. The previous record had been 24 1/8 hot dogs, and he ate 50. And I will point out too that he didn't see that previous record as a barrier because he knew that others had been asking the wrong question. So he didn't even consider that he might double the record. He knew they were all wrong, so he knew he was going to get it right. So I think that that's where we need to proceed, is to think about the questions we're asking when we're looking at data. And that's the frame that we asked our district leadership team members to embrace while looking at our student data. Now, data is also sensitive, so I reminded the district leadership team members that Dr. Cosby has asked all of us to read Time for Change by Dr. Muhammad. And I think it's important because he says that healthy school culture uses data that is just as information, not condemnation. The data should stimulate commitment to a cause bigger than oneself. So we're not looking at the data to place any blame. We're looking at it to see where we are and where we can go. That goes along with this. When we look at data, we also talk a lot about root causes. That's a hot term that people have used for years, but it's important to remember that there is rarely a single root cause. And you can see that in the graphic. There are multiple causes if we're not achieving where we want to be. It's not one thing, so we have to address all those causes, look at them, and then come up with a plan to address all of them. And so that is what we spent a great deal of the meeting doing, really defining the problem, analyzing, and then working towards solutions. And we're not going to get to a solution in a single meeting, but we did get to some direction. We know where we need to go. So I'm just going to briefly have you glance at some of the data that we looked at. Our report card had come out the week before, so we spent some time on that. And we started with some areas of improvement. The district did receive a 3 on gap closing, and that means that of all our subgroups, no one was left behind. So our gifted students, our African American students, our students of poverty, everyone was achieving at the same rate. We weren't serving one group and not another. So we're proud of that gap closing achievement with 3 stars. Our buildings also showed progress in that area, and I have them up there. So the Early Learning Center had 4 stars in gap closing, Madison Park had 5, Westbrook Village, Trotwood-Madison High School, and Trotwood-Madison Middle School all had 3 stars. So we are serving all of our students. Now, that said, there is still work to be done. So I'm going to put on the screen 3 slides that look very similar. The first shows 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade achievement in ELA, math, and science over the last 5 years. So I highlighted in green where we had some significant improvement, 5 points or more improvement from the previous year. But as you can see from the numbers, there is still a ways to go to get to proficiency, okay? But we are seeing some pockets of improvement. This is a similar slide, but this time it's grades 6, 7, and 8, so our middle school slides. And this is high school. Right, as we looked at that, I also included these graphics because I think they show a picture over time. So this one, you can see at the top of the screen, that's 2020, 2021. In the middle is 21, 22, and at the bottom is 22, 23. That's our performance of all grade levels in English language arts, in reading. And when you look at that, you can see that we are stagnant there. We have plenty of room to move. So we just need to look at that, again, not with condemnation, but where we are and where we need to go. And we see a similar pattern in math. Similar in science. And then we see in social studies some growth. Now, I will say we test social studies the least. We only have social studies tests at the high school in government and in U.S. history. All right, we also looked at the MAP data. Now, the OST data was, of course, the spring data from the spring tests, and that tests achievement, right? How well our students have achieved compared to the rest of the state. Our MAP data does something else. It measures growth. So it gives a measurement from fall, this is from fall to fall, so it's from fall 22 to fall 23, where were students expected to be and where they are. So it gives us a different data point, and this is the English language arts growth. And we just have that through grade 10. We did not have enough data for 11 and 12. But where the diamond is where students were expected to be. Based on their fall 22 score, they were expected to be at that diamond in fall of 23. So you can see that there are some areas that are at or above that expectation, but there are many that are below. So this is where we're starting. This is where we need to concentrate, making sure our students are growing up. Based on the previous slides of achievement, we need our students, blue bars, to be above the diamond. We need them to grow more than expected growth if we want them to catch up in achievement. So very much aware of that as a starting point.
So can I just speak in?
Yes.
So what she's saying, when we talk about achievement, we're talking about being on grade level in relation to students across the state. When we talk about growth, it's about where they started and then did they get a year's growth. But for us to catch up in achievement, we have to do more than a year's growth. So grade 6, that diamond is within the blue, that's good. All of them really need to be beyond where the diamond is as well. So that's a good thing as we get closer to them, but in reality, we need to have our expectation higher, and that is, what we're doing. We're gonna hold every teacher, all the kids, all of us to, go higher, right? We're aspiring to go higher.
And the important ingredient in all of that maybe we don't engage enough are the parents. We've got to make sure we engage the parents, that while they're home with parents, that we have expectations for our parents. And we have homework packages that are signed off maybe at the end of the week by those parents, and they're sent back. So I think that's a critical part, and I apologize for that. Thought it was off. And one of the ways we can say that, just looking at the agenda tonight, if we look at when I look at the personnel agenda, I see all these tutors, and they're all at the middle school. So when we are faced with this, we want to own where we are, because everyone is looking at the same thing. We did gap closing. We know we have some other areas we need to address. We can say that we're addressing the area for the middle school with tutoring. I think we have over 14 teachers, and thank you, teachers, for wanting to sign up, that you want to say, I work at Trotwood-Madison, I'm a math teacher, I'm a social studies teacher, and my students are performing. But we need parents committed with those teachers to do that. parents, you need to, if you think your child needs extra, send a note to your teacher. So we can do this, but we've got to be committed. We each have a role. We each really do have to be committed to say, I'm gonna do my part. When I send them to school, they're gonna be prepared to learn. Students, when you get to school, you will learn. And now we have our student representatives on here, and they will share, over time, what it is we're missing. Because I think they have that answer to what's that missing link that students need. But thank you, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you. And I'll just point out one more thing about this slide. Because this is a growth chart, in first grade, when students are still learning to read, there's a larger expectation of growth. As they move towards 11th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, they grow less. They know more, they grow less. So that's typical for those diamonds to be on the downward in expectation for growth. And then a same type of chart for math. And so we closed it out on Thursday with just a couple of things that we already have in place that we hope will lead to some improvement in both growth and achievement. One is using our instructional framework to make sure we remove any artificial barriers about what students can learn. All students can and should be engaging in core instruction in all of their classes at grade level. So that's part of our instructional framework, and it's part of our focus. And then we are also adding an assessment that's directly aligned to ODE's end of course exams and Ohio State tests. These are called readiness assessments. They are provided by the Ohio Department of Education. There's no cost to us. They just give extra practice to our students and to our teachers. So when students take these, they are answering the same types of questions. They're answering questions that are from released exams and practice exams. So they are learning how to take the test, removing that barrier, learning how to take it, what kind of questions are there, what kind of test tools are there, like the ability to have the test read to them if it's not a reading test. So we are implementing that right now. Students have been taking those in their classes this week, and we'll use that data along with our other data to keep moving forward in our progress. And that is my recap for you, unless you have any other questions.
No, just a comment, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you.
And now we will move to the treasurer's report.
I have one item this evening for information only. It is to approve the minutes from September 7th, 2023. That was the work session. And also for the regular meeting that was held on September 21st. Again, that is for information only, and it will be brought back in 2 weeks for approval.
Okay. Any comments on those board?
No.
Okay, superintendent's report.
Okay, I would like to start with approving the Maxim Educational Institution Agreement. You know, we already have a contract with Maxim. They provide services to our students who have special needs, and we have a student who has a nurse, and he's had that nurse as a child at home, and now he's school age, so he's in our building, and so this is the contract to now employ the nurse that is with him. So this is for information this week to be
Okay.
voted on next time. Okay. And then, student activity statements. I have the athletic purpose statement and budget for the school year. And the objective is to provide funds for athletic teams and for student athletes to develop athletic skills, interact with peers in a team environment, experience leadership opportunities, and learn the true art of sportsmanship. Carryover balance from 22-23 was $97,220.75. The total proposed income is $197,500. So a total estimated revenue would be $294,720.75. Expenditures for new uniforms, meals, travel, official fees, and other things, capital equipment, et cetera, is $259,500. And that works out because it's not more than the revenue that's expected.
Yay.
Okay?
Ms. Allen, the money we received from, is it,
Good Samaritan, pre-marriage.
Right.
The 75,000.
right, is that included in here?
Ms. Jones, that's included in here? Okay, yes.
Sponsorship
Is it sponsorship?
dollars?
Yeah, donation
So is that a part,
on your, yes.
okay, so it's included in the carryover balance from last year, right?
Yes, exactly.
President Peterson, we're in the process of negotiating a new agreement with the year. Our contract is up first of this month, and so eventually that will be revised.
Okay.
Okay, so the next student activity purpose statement and budget is from the middle school. The activity group name is Principal's Account, and the objective is to raise funds for staff and student activities during the school year. The beginning balance for is $8,444.09. And they have $1,000 from Spiritware, is what they anticipate as revenue, for a total of $9,444.09. And their expenditures are staff appreciation, and they expect to spend $1,000 on that, leaving them a remaining balance of $8,444.09.
Have they started their fundraiser for DC yet?
Yes, I believe, have they started their fundraiser? Oh, I thought you said, what is the
Oh,
question?
no, I said that's a great question.
Good question. Yes, all of our principals have been informed that they need to get started on any anticipated field trips that are coming up much sooner than we have, so.
And are we able to follow up with the JROTC robotics team? I didn't have a competition in September or October. I was supposed to make a contribution, and I was waiting for someone to reach out. But so I don't know if it's okay. I'll give it
Just
to
write
you.
the check.
Yeah,
to-
Janice
Okay.
says she'll take it.
All right.
And I'll make sure it gets.
But we
She'll
can
always
follow
take
up.
the money.
All right. But if they can do a follow-up report soon.
Yes. Okay, so those are my student activity things. Next, we have a public notice resolution to approve. I will read the public notice for you. Yes, to hold the public meeting. Trotwood-Madison City School District Board of Education hereby gives public notice in accordance with sections 3307.353 of the Ohio Revised Code that Linda Fry and Martha Sue Fry, who were previously employed by the Board of Education as teachers, have retired and are seeking reemployment by the Board of Education. Also, Mark Candler, a bus driver, is seeking reemployment as well. The Board of Education will hold a public meeting on the issue of reemploying the above-named persons at a meeting to be held on Thursday, November 16, 2023, at 5 p.m. The meeting will be held at the Trotwood-Madison City School District Board of Education, 3594 North Snyder Road, Trotwood, 45426. Also, this notice authorizes and directs the treasurer to place a notice in the Dayton Daily News no later than Monday, October 9th, 2023.
Okay,
And that's for action. That's for action.
That is an actionable one.
okay. I'll, take a motion to approve the public notice for the meeting to be held on, November 16th.
President Jeter Freeman, I would like to make a motion to accept the public notice to hold a public meeting on Thursday, November the 16th, 2023 at 5 p.m.
Thank you.
And I'll second.
It's been properly. Okay. It's been properly moved in second. Are there any questions?
Yes. So is it two public notice, correct? We read the one.
Yes, we added the third
Okay.
name, but it's the same meeting.
Okay,
It'll
cool.
all be held at the same time.
Or should we just mention that name again for the record, since you read
She
it?
did.
Mark Candler,
Okay.
Yes, that is
Alright.
what I asked,
Okay.
Ms. Allen, to make sure
Okay.
that our board docs include the updated version where Mr. Mark Candler is added.
Okay.
But thank you. If there are no other questions, Ms. Allen, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry
Yes.
and Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes, the motion passes for the public notice meeting for the rehire on November 16th.
okay, thank you. And then last, I have approval of the personnel agenda, and that's the title today is just for information. A1 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified retirements for the 23-24 school year. A2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified after-school tutors for the 23-24 school year. Now we're on the classified personnel agenda, which is B. B1 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified resignations for the 23-24 school year. B2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified termination for the 23-24 school year. B3 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified staff to be used on an as-needed basis for the 23-24 school year. B4 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified new hire for the 23-24 school year. B5 is a recommendation for approval of the following classified supplementals for the 23-24 school year. And B6, recommendation for the approval of the following classified after-school workers for the 23-24 school year. And I will be asking for approval at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question.
Oh, you can go ahead.
In regards to section A2, are
Okay.
those teachers? Right? Those are teachers?
For the
Section
tutors?
Yes.
A2. Yes, the after-school tutors.
And are they from the middle school?
Yes, they're from the middle school. I think the announcement goes out, and if they don't fill it and another teacher wants to, but we also have tutoring in the other buildings as well. They
Okay.
sometimes, get on the agenda at a different time,
Okay.
but we are offering tutors.
Are we mostly focused on, is it tutoring for where the student is lacking, or is it concentrated in like math and reading?
Well, so depending, I'm sure, on the number of students who come to take advantage, how much, like you said, individual work they can do with the student, but that would be the goal, to see where their individual needs are to provide that intervention. My thought would be if there is a lot of students, and when I say a lot, let's say, 8, 9, 10, and a teacher, then it would be reading and math to strengthen that.
Okay.
Those are areas that we're working on.
And is it an hour right directly after school, or?
Oh, everybody is putting their fingers up, 2 hours.
2 hours at
Yes.
each of the, wherever we have tutoring is 2
Yes,
hours
it'll
at
be
that
2
building.
hours after
Okay.
school.
So
Thank
for
you.
this, I'm just curious, for this particular, was there a campaign to ask for tutors for this particular
You're asking
building?
how do we get so many?
Yeah, and at
Yes.
one time.
We have been talking about it a
Mhm.
lot, and, then we put out the notices for tutors, and then people have been sending back in saying, yes, I want a tutor.
Are we not getting that with the high school?
Oh,
The
yes.
feedback, the same amount of feedback?
Yeah, it's just getting the paperwork
Okay.
together and getting
Okay.
it turned in and flipped to put here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to piggyback just a little bit, because that is a lot of tutors for the middle school. So I would like to know, like, the subjects, how many students, the length of time, and the
Yes.
core. Are we tracking that?
Yes. The question is, are we tracking how many students we have taken advantage of the fact that we have these tutors, who's coming and tracking how many, so each tutor is working with in the core areas, is that what you're asking?
Yes, because, I like the fact that we have
Have a lot.
tutors and have a lot of tutors, but if we have 14 tutors and each tutor has 1 student or 2 students,
Right.
we can kind of narrow
Yes.
it down a little bit, but I commend that we do have the tutors and that they
Right.
are working with our students. I just want to track that information.
I agree wholeheartedly. We need to encourage students to take advantage of this opportunity, because that's what it is. You're right. This number looks like a lot,
Mhm.
but if all of our students who needed support were to stay after, the teachers would end up with quite a few students. But we
Mhm.
know that's traditionally not how it's happened. So just like we encourage their teachers to sign up to tutor, we have to really encourage our students to take advantage of it.
Do we still provide a meal for them after school, or were we ever
Or
doing
snack or
that?
something.
Yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, right.
And how many days?
How many days are we offering tutoring? 2 days.
2 days.
Okay. Okay, any other questions, board? If not, we'll move into discussion and follow-up items, updates. So we will have our special meeting
Mhm.
next week. I forget which date. I think it's October
It's
12th?
the 12th.
Right.
It's October 12th.
And it's at 5:30.
5:30 to 7:30.
5:30 to 7:30.
Mhm.
And that will be to review our programming that we've done with our ESSER dollars and take a look at that.
We're looking forward to that. We've been putting a lot of effort into it to get it ready, to present. So we're
Okay.
excited about that.
Very good. Any other comments, board, on updates? Okay.
No for updates.
Okay, and now we'll move into comments, and I'll get to our newly elected students here at the end. Treasurer's comments.
Yes, I had a couple this evening. I just wanted to take the opportunity this evening to acknowledge the Human Resources Department, as well as my own Treasurer's Department, for gathering all of the public record information that comes from the public. I did say last meeting, for FY '22, our district did receive 4 stars from the Treasurer of State for the work we do in this area, so I wanted to make sure that I mentioned the HR department as well. Also, I wanted to say that I had a really good opportunity yesterday to sit in on a presentation at the middle school, and I'm sure Dr. Cosner will talk about that. But I sat in for Dr. Will, I was gonna say Downing, but it's not Downing. Dr. Will, what's his last?
Will Moore.
Moreland, thank you. Dr. Will Moreland's presentation, and I walked away with, the last thing he said is that when you start your day, don't let others define your day, you define it. And so when he said that, I try to do that every day, but you know, look in the mirror and say, I'm the best, I'm gonna have a great day, and just let yourself define your day. Don't come to your workplace and say, oh, I'm gonna have a terrible day. So I really did get a lot of information from that. The last thing I wanted to let the board know, and Dr. Cosby, is that the auditors from Plattenberg, this is in front of you, they would like for you to complete this questionnaire. You can either put it in the envelope, give it to me, and we'll mail it, or you can mail it yourself. They need that. And I don't know if I did mine, I don't know if I gave mine to somebody's, but all 5 board members plus Dr. Cosby and myself have to send this in, so please make sure you send it in. And if you could get it done before you leave today, that'd be great, and just give it to me and I'll mail it for you. So that's all I had this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. And Superintendent, comments?
Okay, I have quite a few comments. First, I would like to congratulate our new student representatives. Thank you for coming. We look forward to hearing from you as the year goes on. I know it's a lot to absorb, you know, at the beginning, so we really are anticipating your input. Yes, I did want to talk about the anti-bullying program. That was a reason that the middle school was asynchronous yesterday, was to bring in this presentation. There were 3 presenters. As you know, I was at a conference, but many of my staff members did go and participate, and I am familiar with some of the presenters, and they were excellent yesterday. My understanding is that the teachers were totally involved. They didn't have lunch until 2 o'clock, and not one person complained. They were that engaged in what was going on. And this is the same, you remember when we had the presentation at our last board meeting? So this was actually her carrying out the start of the presentation. Tomorrow, the middle school students and teachers will have some of that information shared with them as well, with the students. So that was really good, and conscious discipline took place in the younger buildings, and my understanding is that went extremely well too. We also had our homecoming, and everything, we're just on a roll, knock on wood here. Everything went really well at the game and at the dance. And I was able to attend Trotwood's homecoming event that they held at the park. It was really nice. My understanding is it's been bigger before COVID, but it's growing. And so I anticipate it'll be bigger as the years go on. So that's something we want to continue with. And then I did want to sort of piggyback on what Ms. Jeter Freeman said about getting our parents involved. That's why we have, you know, established our Heroes of the Household program. The parent, Ms. Gist, who came in and, you know, did the anti-bullying program, she is a part of our Heroes of the Household. We have parents coming to more things than we've had, and we actually had parents there yesterday. So we are getting that parent involvement. We can never ask enough until we have all parents involved. We do not have enough. So I just want to congratulate those who are taking that step forward. And like Ms. Jeter Freeman, I want to really motivate, encourage other parents to get involved in what we're doing as well with their children's education. It's just so important. Then I did want to share with the board my monthly update. I'm more inclined to send these things on email, which of course I'm going to do too. But I did want to pass them out so that you can have them and have an opportunity to look through it. I will mention a couple of the things as part of my update, well, as part of my comments right now. One thing that I know that the board would be very excited about and want everybody to hear, there is Workforce Training and Business Development Center at Central State. They're holding an app development workshop. It's going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 8 at CSU from October 17th to November 22nd. The students have information, and we're encouraging them to participate. We
Is it-
also had, I had mentioned to you all the Leaders of Tomorrow program that was put on by the National Black MBA Association. And I attended that meeting. It was really well done and very supportive of students and gives them a lot of leadership opportunities. They go to a national conference and a lot of things. So if you have any interest in an MBA or leadership, then you may want to look into it. There is no deadline to join. And we did have, I would say, about 4 students there. So we would like for a lot more students to take advantage of it.
So is it held locally, and for the conference that they attend? do they-
The conference is national conference, it's not held locally,
Mhm.
so they do travel and, have to either raise money or, the family supports it. We did have a student who went, who was at that
Mhm.
meeting, and they were, he said it was life-changing for him.
Hmm.
He met people that he had never anticipated to have that opportunity. He considered himself a very shy young man,
Mhm.
and he said he got there and had to, step out of his own way and present and do things, and when he left, he felt so much better, about his ability to lead. So, yeah, it is something that we will continue to encourage our students to participate in. I did want to share one thing that's sort of fun, our positive culture news. Our positive climate committee is working very hard. Each building, is supposed to let me know on payday Friday so that they don't forget, because on payday Friday, we are very attentive, letting the students know. And so they let us know what's happening in their building. Well, at central office, what we are doing is on Wednesdays, we take a 10-minute walk, and the goal is to walk with somebody that you don't know a lot about. Maybe you've seen them and all, but to walk for 10 minutes. So we're getting some exercise, having some good conversation. And in this building, historically, people who work beyond those glass doors tended not to come over here. So we intentionally invited them to participate in this. And so they've taken us up on it, and we're really doing well. Now, the really fun thing that we're doing, because walking and talking is fun, and Mr. Stone is over there smiling because he's going to participate this Friday. We've been doing line dancing, and again, it's like 10 minutes, so you get in 2 dances, but hey, it's party season coming up. I'm trying to learn that, which one is the hard?
I don't know the name of it. Oh, you're talking, oh, I know.
It's that hard one where you got to do like 15 crosses and all that. That's a hard one, but I'm gonna learn it. Aaliyah. Is that what
Tamia.
Tamia, okay, see why I don't even know the name of it. Tamia's dance. Okay, I'm gonna get it though. But we are doing it, and we're doing it on that side of the glass wall. And so we're all working together, and really it's intentionality. We're gonna speak to each other, we're gonna walk and talk with each other, we're gonna have a little fun. So these things can make a difference. I will continue to encourage our buildings to take part in those things. And I did list our events on this so that if you have an opportunity and would like to participate, we would love for you to as a board and as a community. October 6th, we play Dunbar in football at Welcome Stadium. It's at 7 p.m. Our anti-bullying program for staff and students is tomorrow at the middle school. The mayor will be celebrating our transportation department October 6th. JW's on Main Street. October 7th, Saturday, is the Unity Parade on the middle school campus. Our next Heroes of the Household meeting is in person, Monday, October 16th, here in central office. October 13th, I want you to know so that everybody can be prepared. October 13th is a teacher work day. And October 20th is comp day for parent conferences. So those are days that are not asynchronous. Students are at home. So parents, keep that in mind. Then students on November 7th, the high school students will be having an asynchronous day. And that means they will be getting assignments because the teachers will still be in work, but it's it's our election day. And we want everyone to come out for that. And that's all I have. But thank you for listening.
Thank you.
So
Very-
Dr. Cosby, I'm sorry.
No,
Madam
go ahead.
President. For that, because we got a lot of attention on social media for the Asynchronous Day, if we can post on our social media a calendar, some type of calendar flyer of the dates that our children are not to report to school.
Yes.
Um,
We'll make sure that we get a calendar out like that. Yesterday, it was announced and, through Parents Square and and principals sent home notifications and things like that. But I do understand that, some people still were not aware that it was happening. So we will be even more, notification heavy and making sure everyone knows. And that's why I started with those today. Thank you.
I think the parents was looking at the school calendar, and if
Yeah.
we think about it, if you're a parent and you're working, and you have ones that you have to get babysitters or someone to care for them, it's a day for some of them that they had not planned
So-
to have care for the
Right.
students.
And
But there are multiple communication alerts.
Yes.
There are,
Yes.
we
And-
just have to make sure, like we said, the intentionality, right?
Mhm.
This is my building. These are the things I have planned for this week, for this month,
Right,
so that parents can also plan
right.
around their work schedules.
Right, and I agree with you. Unfortunately, you're right. If parents are only looking at our first calendar, there are some things that will
Mhm.
come up throughout the year, opportunities
Right.
and things like that. So it's not the only time that we may have our students out, but if it is gonna be something that's not on that calendar, and even
Right.
things that are on the calendar, we will make sure that it is, definitely repeated over and over.
And I think this is an opportunity that either you or someone else can do a superintendent's moment on social media and explain what that day means. Explain the word. Some people didn't even know how to pronounce the word, let alone getting the notification. But we're all about educating, so I think this is
I
an
agree.
opportunity for us to highlight that on social media and explain, break down the word. What's the definition of the word? I don't know, but have fun with it. Yeah.
I like that opportunity. I'll put on my suit and look official and get on Facebook. Thank you.
Okay, so now we will move to our student comments. And we'll start with either one you want to go, Princess or Faith?
Well, first, I feel like I can speak
Speak into the
collectively. Well,
Let's
we
see,
just wanna thank-
can you move your mic to you? I think, yeah, you can just move it closer.
We just want to thank you for having us, and we appreciate this moment for us to have the opportunity to speak as, representing the student body. And just mainly, we want to thank you.
I would like to thank everybody for this opportunity, for letting me and Faith to be on the Board of Education. I'm very excited to work with you guys, and I'm very excited to represent our classmates and Trotwood-Madison City Schools. And Dr. Cosby, can Faith and I and Aaliyah get a copy of your handout, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and Aaliyah, do you have words you want to say, you want to share today? Aaliyah is our alternate, so the three of them are joined at the hips. They will be communicating with each other. Aaliyah might not be here at every meeting, but they will talk, and if one cannot make the meeting, Aaliyah will be here. We have a name tag for her, and she will be in place. So set those expectations for how that will work.
Hi, I just want to thank y'all for having us being able to do this, because I feel like it's opportunity for us, and like it'll help our school be better. Also, like on the computers, like how do we get the
On the
on
computers?
our computers? Yeah.
We'll show you how to do that.
Okay.
Hopefully at
Okay.
the- at the end of the- Hopefully at the end of the meeting, we'll show you how to get on them.
Okay. And we will have your names on the agenda next time. It won't say student representative. It'll have, the two of your names.
Okay, yes. we can do that.
And now we'll go to board comments. Mr. Anderson.
Well, I would like to congratulate our student representatives, and congratulations on your swearing in. Utilize it, take it all in. I hope Mr. McCray will allow you to have a town hall with all the collective students in the high school. You have access to the superintendent, the treasurer, and the board. So anytime we have a meeting, I want to hear your concerns. I want to hear what you think is good for your school, what we can implement for the district. I wish we had this opportunity when I was in high school. So I hope you use it to the best of your ability. I want to just congratulate the Trotwood-Madison district for the continuous year of aspiring to go higher. It's nothing but positivity going around. I do want to, probably the last few Fridays of the month, I do want to be paired up with someone to walk around.
Sure.
So put me on the list with someone. I just come over here during work. But I'm just excited about this school year. That's all I have.
Okay. And Ms. Cherry?
Congratulations to our student representatives. I look forward to meeting with you guys, not just all about board business, but just to get to know you guys as well. I want to say congratulations to our football team. Yay.
Yay.
Also, I want to point out that Dr. Cosby has challenged us to go, aspire to go higher. I really, really like that. I also like the fact that the climate is kind of changing at Trotwood for the better. And for everyone who was a part of that, I appreciate that so much. I would also like to, I do have I have a question, but it's for Mr. Smith. So immediately after, if I could see you for a second, I'd appreciate it. I like the idea about the town hall from Mr. Anderson. Dr. Cosby, please put me on for the boardwalk as well,
Okay?
much sooner than later.
Yeah. I'm game.
I would also like to thank the class, I think it was of 83, for the donation for a scholarship for a graduating senior of 2024.
Okay.
And that's all I have today.
Okay, and Ms. Moore has joined us, and if you saw me on my phone, she was in traffic on her way here, so she has arrived, and we have sworn in our students, both Faith, Princess, and Aaliyah.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome to the Board of Education. Yes,
Did you have any other comments?
I made it here safely. So
Okay.
I'm good, and you guys will have to bring me up to speed.
Okay.
I appreciate it. And is this the same boardwalk that we talked about, walking through?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know you want
Put me
to.
on the- yes.
And I would like to just ask, do you have any days and times? I think that's what,
Can I send them to you in an email?
please send them to
Okay.
me. Yes.
Well, what time do you and your team usually go out for this?
Well, I have some standing meetings,
Okay.
you know, with some of my people, but otherwise, we're available to go out anytime.
Okay.
So, and I can change some of that. So if you send me your availability, we can make it happen.
And it's not our goal to come in here and make people uncomfortable.
Right.
We
know.
want to just, it's an opportunity to dialogue, get to know each other off the record. So I want to put that out there. We just don't want to change the climate because board members are coming in and walking with
No,
anybody.
we want them to have an
Okay.
expectation that they'll see you in the
Okay.
buildings and things with us. I think that's really a positive move,
Okay.
so we look forward to it.
All right, in my comments, it was good talking to you, and I'm glad to have you on board. You have my phone number. I will continue to call you to see if you have any ideas, anything you want. And I will also set up a time that's convenient for you all to meet once a week, once a month, or whatever your availability. And as I shared with you, you have the opportunity, and I would like for Mr. McCray to know this, the principal, that if they're available and would like to sit in on the student government meeting, to sit in on the Honor Society meeting, so that they can gain insight from those groups as to just things that are happening.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that would be very helpful because we want your opinions for things that we can improve on.
Mhm.
We also want to hear from you things that are positive, and sometimes it would be
Right,
helpful
right.
to know those things, you know,
And
by
it's to
going
sit
into
in-
meetings.
Right. And it's just to sit in, and you might not gain anything, but you get a sense of what's happening. You get a sense of the concerns and things they're sharing, they might need help with. So, so that even if you're not a member of those groups, you have that opportunity to do that. And Dr.
I'll make
Cosby, if you
sure,
would share
yes.
that with the principals and those teacher leaders.
Yes.
Thank you. And I think that's all I have. The DLT, we have a great group of people, staff that's there, that's sharing a lot of insight. It's one of the committees I'm on, and I absolutely love it. We dive deep. They share wholeheartedly what they see, so you get a real sense of their passion for where we are and where we need to be and some of the things we need to do to get there. So with that,
I also want to say thank you for that presentation. Good information. Thank you.
yes. Now I will take a motion to enter into the conference with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body per ORC 121.22 G3. Action may be taken. And also to consider this appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual per Board of Ed Policy 0166 in ORC 121.22, and action may be taken.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of conferencing with the attorney for a public body concerning per ORC 121.22, and also considering the appointment, employment, dismissal as stated before with BOE policy 0166 and ORC 121.
And I'll second.
It's been properly moved by Mr. Anderson, second by Ms. Moore. Ms. Allen, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes, we will enter into executive session at 6:49. Action may be taken. And we'll come back out to dismiss. And our students, you are released. I know you're hungry. declare us out of executive session at 7:57. Properly moved in second.
Oh, did
Miss-
you say adjournment or just out of executive session?
I just said out of
Okay,
executive
sorry.
session.
I'll wait for the adjournment.
I'll take the motion to
I'll
adjourn.
move.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Moore, second by Mrs. Cherry. Ms. Allen, would you call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Judith Freeman.
Yes, meeting is adjourned.
Hey, you guys have a good.